Life truly begins when you realize who you are, not the version shaped by societal expectations or the roles others have assigned to you. Most of us spend the majority of our lives trying to fit into molds that aren't truly ours, enduring impositions, and trying to please others without ever asking ourselves, who am I really? We might have silenced our true voice just to avoid rejection or not being accepted. But the truth is that happiness we crave and the freedom we seek only begin the moment we embark on the journey of self-discovery. The search for self is not a superficial adventure, nor just a theoretical exploration. It is the foundation of a meaningful life. Great minds in history, from ancient philosophers to modern psychologists like Carl Jung and Jean-Paul Sartre, have attempted to explain this concept over the centuries. Carl Jung emphasized individuation, the process of becoming who you truly are, as many people live as fragmented versions of themselves, disconnected from their deeper nature. According to him, the persona we present to the world is just a mask, and beneath that mask lies the true self, waiting to be acknowledged and set free. It's easy to recognize that the life we are living is not truly ours, but changing and rediscovering ourselves is no simple task. It requires the courage to face uncomfortable truths, to overcome the fear of rejection, and sometimes even to walk away from things that no longer align with who we are becoming. Finding oneself is not a journey with a fixed destination. It's an ongoing process of change and growth, where you continuously rediscover and redefine who you are meant to be. The journey of self-discovery is not an easy or quick process. It requires the courage to ask deep questions about yourself. Questions that many of us may never have dared to ask. Who am I really? What do I want, not what society expects? Am I living true to myself or just living according to others' expectations? These are tough questions, but they are the very ones that will open the door for you to find your true self. This process is not just an external search, but an inward exploration that demands you face things about yourself that have never been revealed before. To truly find yourself, you need to strip away the layers that society and the surrounding environment have built around you. These layers could be the roles you've accepted in life, the prejudices and beliefs you were raised with. Carl Jung described this as individuation, the process of becoming a whole person, not bound by societal masks. This is not about creating a new version of yourself. It is about rediscovering your true self, shedding what doesn't belong to you, and finding the essence within. As you embark on this journey, you will realize that true freedom only comes when you take responsibility for your own life and begin living on your own terms, no longer confined by others' judgments. Jean-Paul Sartre, one of the prominent philosophers of existentialism, argued that true freedom comes from defining yourself, rather than letting society define you. This can be frightening because when there is no clear path to follow, you have to create your own. But it is in this freedom that you can truly live a meaningful life. The process of finding yourself requires you to challenge the beliefs, expectations, and judgments that you've lived by your entire life. At times, you will have to let go of old habits, relationships that no longer align, and roles you've become accustomed to. This change can make you feel uncertain and afraid, but it is the first step in uncovering your true self. The journey of self-discovery is not only a personal journey, but also closely tied to the great philosophies of humanity. From the ancient wisdom of Greek philosophers, like the slogan, "Know thyself" at the Temple of Apollo in Delphi, to Eastern spiritual traditions, the journey of self-exploration has always been considered the foundation of wisdom and enlightenment. In Buddhism, Hinduism, and other spiritual traditions, this process is often described as peeling away the layers of illusion, realizing that we are not just our thoughts, social roles, or past experiences, but a deeper essence that transcends all distinctions and illusions. Jean-Paul Sartre, the famous French philosopher, proposed that people often try to live according to external definitions, instead of creating their own meaning in life. He argued that true freedom comes when individuals take responsibility for defining themselves, rather than letting society or others do it for them. Therefore, rediscovering oneself is a crucial step in reclaiming control over one's own life. However, this process is not easy. It touches on feelings of fear, anxiety about rejection, and the need to let go of what has been familiar for so long. The important thing to understand is that freedom does not come from becoming someone new, but from realizing that we were never truly lost. From the moment we were born, our true self has always existed, but gradually, layers of societal masks, family expectations, and environmental influences have covered it. The process of self-discovery is about peeling away these layers to recognize that the truth has always been within us from the very beginning. Ultimately, the journey of finding oneself is not about searching for a new version of oneself, but about returning to who we truly are, reconnecting with our original self before the world shaped us. This can lead to awakening and true freedom, helping us live more fully and meaningfully. The journey of self-discovery is not just about awareness. It also requires exploration and practical action. The first step is self-awareness, observing your thoughts, emotions, and reactions. Identifying the behavioral patterns you have followed over time is crucial. Are they truly yours, or are they values and expectations placed on you by society? The truth is, many times we live according to habits and beliefs formed long ago, without realizing they do not reflect our true selves. When you start to become aware of this, that is when you open the door to change and begin discovering your authentic self. Next comes exploration. This means you need to try new experiences, ask profound questions, and allow yourself to be curious about who you really are. You may not know the outcome in advance, but these experiments will help you uncover aspects of yourself you have never considered before. Ask yourself questions like, who am I when I don't have the roles society assigns to me? If there were no expectations from others, what would I do? These questions will help you break free from society's constraints and explore your true self in the most honest way possible. Finally, the most important step is acceptance and facing discomfort. Personal growth and rediscovery are not always easy. It touches on uncomfortable truths, and sometimes you have to confront uncomfortable feelings. However, it is in this discomfort that you will find growth. You need to accept change and face what has been. Only when you step out of your comfort zone will you truly progress and develop. The journey of self-discovery is a challenging process, and the most important thing in this process is that change does not mean becoming someone entirely new, but rather uncovering and accepting the true self that has always existed within you. This journey is a continuous process of becoming better, not a final destination. We are not fixed beings, but entities that are always changing and evolving. When you rediscover yourself, you are not becoming someone else, but uncovering and releasing the potential that has been hidden all along. In reality, self-discovery is not a goal that can be achieved in a moment, but a continuous journey where you are constantly changing and growing. Every day, you will learn more about yourself, what makes you feel alive, and what truly brings happiness. This journey is not about seeking perfection, but about seeking authenticity and freedom. At times, you will face challenges, fears, and insecurities, but it is in those moments that you will find the strength to continue moving forward. The key is that you should never stop at a fixed point in this journey. Every step forward, every change, is a part of your personal evolution. You do not need to find a perfect version of yourself, but a truer and freer version. Everyone can become the best version of themselves, but that can only be achieved when you accept change, continuous growth, and the difficult truths that this journey brings. One of the most important factors in the journey of rediscovering yourself is acceptance and living authentically every day. True freedom and fulfillment can only be achieved when you live a life that reflects your true nature and deep values. When you are not living true to yourself, you will feel lost, as if your life is off track and meaningless. Every decision, every relationship, every habit you maintain should reflect your true self. Otherwise, life will always feel incomplete and stressful. This does not mean you need to change everything immediately, but the awareness of the disharmony between how you are living and who you truly are is essential. First, you must recognize the parts of your life that do not reflect your true self. It could be a problem that no longer fits, a relationship that no longer brings happiness, or even daily habits that do not help you grow. Once you realize this, you will have the courage to make changes, even though you may face uncertainty, worry, or insecurity. This process of change requires courage and commitment. You cannot transform your life without determination and the ability to face the fears and resistance from both yourself and those around you. But once you start living authentically, you will see life unfold new opportunities, meaningful relationships, and clearer decisions. True freedom only comes when you live true to yourself and choose to build a life that reflects the truth of who you are. One of the key elements in the journey of self-discovery is awareness and action. As emphasized in the content, awareness of oneself is the first and most important step. You need to observe your thoughts, emotions, and actions, and ask yourself if the life you are living truly reflects your authentic self. Often we chase societal expectations or do things that others want, forgetting that we have the right to choose and create our own life. This awareness is the key to realizing that the habits and prejudices of society may have caused us to live in a way that is not true to who we are. Once you become aware of the disharmony between your current life and your true nature, the next step is action. You need to make real changes in your life. This is not always easy, as change often brings discomfort and fear. But it is in these uncomfortable moments that you will find real growth and freedom. For example, you may have to leave a stable job that no longer fits you or end a relationship that no longer brings happiness. These decisions require courage and determination. But if you continue to act from your truth and your values, you will feel a sense of freedom and peace in your soul. More importantly, action is not just about external changes, but also about inner transformation. Maintaining healthy habits and making decisions based on your truth and passion will help you build a more harmonious and meaningful life. The combination of awareness and action will be the key to stepping out of your comfort zone, opening up new opportunities, and living more fully with yourself. Life is not a journey in search of perfection. It is a continuous process of change, growth, and evolution. When you truly rediscover yourself, you will realize that freedom and happiness are not things you can find in a perfect version of yourself. In fact, it is through the constant change and evolution of yourself that you will find real meaning and value in life. Humans are not fixed beings, but ever-changing creatures, and each day is an opportunity to explore and recreate yourself. The process of self-discovery is not about finding a final destination, but is an ongoing journey of change and expansion. You cannot find a perfect person that you always wish to become, because it is the continuous change and evolution of yourself that create the richness and beauty of life. Remember, it is in this imperfect process that you will truly grow and feel fulfilled. The journey of rediscovering yourself is a process without an endpoint. It is an ongoing evolution. At times, you may feel uncertain about yourself or feel that you are drifting away from what is familiar. But it is in these moments that you will mature and expand into new possibilities. True freedom is not about becoming a completely new and perfect person, but learning to live with the imperfect aspects of yourself and finding harmony between change and stability. Ultimately, you need to understand that development is not a destination, but a never-ending journey. Every step forward in this journey is part of growth and freedom, and it is through this process that you will find a life that is truly meaningful and valuable. Ultimately, the journey of rediscovering yourself is not only a process of awareness, but also a continuous practice. Things will not change just by thinking and understanding. To truly change your life, you must act on your deep insights about yourself and live in the present. It is through presence in each moment that you reconnect with your true self. When you live in the present, you will no longer be caught up in thoughts about the past or worries about the future. You simply are, and in that state, you will realize that your true self is not influenced by external factors. In reality, living in the present is not an easy task. We are easily swept up in worries, anxieties, and uncertainties about the future. However, when you are fully present in each moment, you will experience a freedom and peace that nothing else can provide. When you can let go of unnecessary concerns and live fully in the present, you will be able to connect with yourself more clearly, and authenticity will naturally emerge. Living in the present is a way to free yourself from the pressures of the past and the uncertainties of the future. What is important is patience and determination on this journey. Presence in the present is not easy, and sometimes you will face resistance from yourself or your environment. However, if you persist and practice living in the moment, you will feel positive changes in your life. Decisions will become clearer, and you will live more freely. Truly living is living in the present, not in the past you imagine or the future you worry about. One of the deepest realizations in the journey of rediscovering yourself is understanding that self-discovery is not the end, but truly the beginning. Once you gain a deeper understanding of who you are, what matters is not just knowing who you are, but how you apply that knowledge to live a truly meaningful and free life. As mentioned in the content, self-discovery is not about finding a perfect self, but learning to accept your imperfections and live authentically every day. Truly living with your true self requires consistency in the decisions you make every day. The choices in your life must be made from a clear understanding of yourself, from the truth of your values and dreams, rather than just relying on societal expectations or external pressures. This can bring great challenges because when you live a life that reflects your true self, you may face resistance from others or even from within yourself. However, this is where you show courage, not only in stepping out of your comfort zone, but also in accepting risks and sometimes loneliness in order to live fully as who you truly are. Ultimately, the journey of rediscovering yourself has no endpoint, but is a continuous process. When you begin to live authentically, you will realize that change and growth are not things to fear, but opportunities to continue expanding and discovering new aspects of yourself. True freedom and happiness come only when you live in alignment with your true nature, not chasing after ideal versions painted by others or society. One of the most important lessons we can take from the journey of rediscovery is that living authentically is the key to achieving true freedom and happiness. When we live according to others' expectations or societal molds, life will always feel lacking, as though we are living a life that is not our own. The journey of self-discovery is not an endless quest to reach a perfect version of ourselves, but a process of learning to accept and live fully with our imperfect aspects. To truly live a meaningful life, we need to act from the truth of ourselves, not be swayed by fear or external pressures. This requires courage because when you live true to yourself, you will face challenges, resistance, and sometimes loneliness. However, it is in these moments that you will grow, evolve, and uncover new opportunities that only authenticity can bring. Living truly is not about seeking perfection, but about living fully and meaningfully in every moment, even in the smallest of things. It is this awareness, courage, and persistence in daily actions that will help you step out of your comfort zone and move towards a more fulfilling life.